What is up, my dudes? This is Trent with the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Today's episode, I have my favorite Week 11 waiver wire ads. They are all below 55% rostered on Sleeper. And also, guys, got all the waivers by position in the show notes, bookmarked if you want to go skip around from position to position. You will not hurt my feelings. Just remember to give us a like and to give us a sub. That's the most important thing right there, guys. And remember, don't be rude. Share the dudes. Really helps us out, guys. Today's episode is brought to you by Sleeper. Head over to Sleeper, do the DFS. Promo code DUDES100. You can 100 times your money. All that good stuff over there at Sleeper. Also, best place to play fantasy football. So let's jump into these waiver wire ads, guys. Before I jump into that, teams on bye for Week 11, Arizona Cardinals, Carolina Panthers, New York Giants, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So we will have some quarterbacks that you potentially need to stream for. Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield, Bryce Young and Daniel Jones. Hopefully you haven't had to play them. Daniel Jones actually had a good matchup in Week 10 over there in Germany, and he just didn't do too good, guys. Like he's just Daniel Jones. Like, can't trust him. Sorry about that. Weird guy to recommend as a streamer. I did that last week. Only thing weirder would be like celebrating Veterans Day in Germany. Wait, the NFL actually did that today. I don't know why. Seems like they should have punted maybe the Germany game one more week, not did like a Veterans Day ceremony before the game. There's a lot of World War II memes about that game anyways, so then we go over there for Veterans Day. Let's hike this to the quarterbacks, not to be awkward, guys. I feel like maybe I shouldn't have went there, but I did go there. Sorry, not sorry. All right, quarterback waiver wire ads. First on this list, I got Justin Herbert, guys. 54% rostered, 3 straight games of 19 fantasy points or more. They're hosting the Bengals this week. The Bengals just got lit up like a Christmas tree by Lamar Jackson on Thursday Night Football. Bengals are the 4th best quarterback matchup in fantasy football, 18.6 fantasy points per game to the quarterback position. Justin Herbert, he's very efficient, isn't throwing the ball a ton. Think you're going to get at least 15 points out of him this week. He's done 3 straight at 19. Don't see why he couldn't do that. The defense and the running game just keeps the game so close. They don't need him to do a lot, but he is very efficient with the opportunities he has. I like this spot for Justin Herbert. Next on my list, 28% rostered. I got Russell Wilson. Baltimore Ravens, number 1 defense that we like to target in fantasy football. They are giving up 22 fantasy points per game to the quarterback position, guys. So Russell Wilson, it's a good spot. He's playing pretty well. And in his past couple games, what do we got here? Back-to-back games. He's been on this list a couple times. He had 19 fantasy points versus Washington today. I am recording this right after Sunday Night Football for those of you that are new to the show. So I don't have any of the stats from Monday Night Football. He had 13 points versus the Giants. Not great, but he did have 24 fantasy points versus the New York Jets 2 weeks ago. So he's getting it done fantasy wise. It's not great. But he is showing some glimpses where he's kind of getting things done. You see that hard count today, draw the guy off sides. Probably aren't in a league that gets you fantasy points for that, but oh well. Next, number 3 on the list, I got Bo Nix, 44% rostered, hosting the Atlanta Falcons. They're the 12th best fantasy defense for quarterbacks, giving up 15.8 fantasy points per game. Bo Nix went into Arrowhead, went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, did everything he had to win that game. Chiefs blocked the field goal to stay undefeated. I'm sure, everywhere else you're listening to, you're hearing all about that game and how the Chiefs are undefeated. I don't want to bang the Chiefs drum. Maybe that's the right thing. We don't want to bang the Chiefs drum too much on this show here. But Bo Nix, he's doing everything he needs to do. Really good rookie quarterback. Put out on X, is he the best rookie quarterback out there? I know Jaden Daniels has been good. I know Drake May looks like he's a couple weapons away from being good. I don't like Drake May's matchup. Just seems kind of matchup proof. Doesn't have the weapons. That's why I can't really recommend Drake May unless it's the right, matchup for him. And then I just got a YOLO play here, right? For my last quarterback. Maybe Hail Mary, maybe is more appropriate. Jameis Winston going to New Orleans to play the Saints. Revenge game. So yeah, got Jameis at New Orleans. That's my fourth favorite play there for quarterbacks. That's more of like a, bonus Hail Mary. Like I said, quarterback dead of the week brought to you by Trophy Smack. Trophy Smack's the best place for your fantasy football trophies, participation awards, busts of Patrick Mahomes. They even got helmets now. Head over to trophysmack.com/dudes, 15% off your whole order. I have a duds list every single week, and these are the guys that just absolutely demolish your fantasy football team, made it almost impossible to win. I got Jaden Daniels. He was 76% started on Sleeper. He had 8.5 fantasy points. One of it, I would say this is probably his worst. This was his worst performance so far as a NFL quarterback. Just a tough game. And Steelers are a tough team to play. I mentioned that on the pod. I did not like this spot on Thursday. We do our preview show. I said I did not like this spot for Jaden Daniels, but you kind of have to play him for how good he's doing with all the rookie of the year talk, stuff like that. Jaden Daniels, dead of the week at the quarterback position and 76% rostered. I have you have to be over 55% started on Sleeper to make the all duds list. We're going to the running backs, guys. We're going to hand it off to the running backs. We actually have a couple running backs you can even pick up here. I got Audric Estime. I think I'm saying that right. Let me know in the comments if I'm saying that wrong. Estime, Phil's favorite Notre Dame running back. He is 7% rostered. He had 14 carries today versus the Chiefs for 53 yards. Javonte only had 1 carry, and Jaleel McLaughlin only had 1 carry. So Sean Payton came out and said Estime was going to be getting the ball a little bit more. Looks like he got the ball a whole lot more, guys. I do not have snap percentages yet. All I have is carries. So that's all I got that I can really do there. Decent, 14 for 53, no touchdowns. His largest workload of his career so far. Of his whole career, like I said. So Javonte Williams was 50% started. He absolutely destroyed you. He has been destroying your fantasy team probably all season, though. You can never start him at the right time. And that's why Steamy's getting the spot he's in where he can get more carries. He has the 14th best running back matchup this week. They're giving up 93 rushing yards per game. That's the Falcons. I think you can pick up Estime and play him. I think it's a good spot for him to get going. And then Gus Edwards is my next running back. 19% rostered. J.K. Dobbins had 15 carries. Gus had 10. Gus was a little bit more efficient on the ground. As a fantasy guy who plays fantasy football, and you as well, this kind of just muddies the waters. It's super annoying. The Chargers are doing this. J.K. Dobbins has been playing really well. I know he has some injury, past that I always bring up here, and why I've been fans of Kamani Vidal. But Gus Edwards came in today. He had 10 carries, 55 yards, average 5.5 yards per carry. But then Haseen Haskins comes in and gets the goal line carry. So it's getting muddy over there. I think J.K. Dobbins is still the best guy to have there. But if you got a guy who's getting 10 carries, some of these leagues are deep. Injuries are starting to happen. I think Gus Edwards is a guy that should be rostered. I'm not saying you have to play him, but playing the Bengals this week. All right, last running back on the list, I have Jaylen Warren, guys. 14 carries, at least. He had 14 carries today. He's had at least 9 carries in 3 straight games. It needs to be rostered. I'm not going to get into handcuffs really today, but Warren had 8.5 fantasy points today. So 14 carries for 66 yards, 2 catches for 29 yards. Playing the Ravens, tough running back play. Maybe he's the receiving back there. We haven't really completely seen that all together with him and Najee Harris, but Chase Brown just had a really good game against the Ravens on Thursday Night Football. So maybe Jaylen Warren's a guy that does okay there if they got to throw the ball a little bit more, but it looks like he's getting a little bit more involved. I don't think he does not have a touchdown yet on the season, though. So it's going to be hard for him to really produce fantasy points unless you're just in a complete bind where you got to have something, right? Which, hey, sometimes that happens. All right, let's throw it. Oh, running back duds. I got J.K. Dobbins, 7 fantasy points. Would be amazing if he could have had 6 more fantasy points, maybe would have got that handoff instead of them giving it to Haskins. Then J.K. Dobbins isn't on the list. Then I got DeAndre Swift, 7 fantasy points. Also had 7 fantasy points. So both of those guys just absolutely killed you. And I would know because I have them both on my fantasy team. And actually, I've been watching, X, YouTube, just all the political stuff that's been going on. Like kind of these videos that are going viral. All these people like just absolutely mental breakdowns, freaking out. Like, is that something the fantasy community is missing? Like, should I just get on here screaming at DeAndre Swift, when he doesn't have a good game, or like screaming at CD Lamb because the football, he loses it in the sun? Should we make that more normal for fantasy football? Maybe that's the reason. Actually, yeah, none of those people play fantasy football, so that's probably not going to work. But probably a good way to go viral, but probably not a good way to get people to keep listening to this pod. So I'm sorry. Let's pretend I didn't say anything there. I am so sorry. I will not be doing rage freak out videos. Yeah, that will not be happening. Sorry about that. I shouldn't have went there. Throwing it over to the wide receivers, guys. Wide receivers. Number 1 on my list, I have Ricky Parcell, 55% rostered, 6 targets, 4 catches, 73 yards, and a house call. And it has Seattle next week. Decent matchup for wide receivers. Christian McCaffrey's back. Ricky Parcell. I am butchering this guy's name like I do everyone else's name. We'll just call him Ricky here for now. Absolutely, has the touchdown before Christian McCaffrey. Came back, has the touchdown, looked really good on that run with Christian McCaffrey there. Sorry, get my thoughts back here. It kind of opens up that whole offense, makes everyone look better. You got to account for him in the backfield. It's a really big deal. So Debo should get a boost. Jennings should get a boost. I think Ricky, I like Ricky, guys. I think he's good. First round draft pick capital. No Ayuk. I think he's going to fit in there nicely. Big play today. I really like Ricky Parcell. Next on my list, I have Mike Williams, 20% rostered. Big TD catch today against the Commanders. Just 1 catch. I think this is going to be the guy that the Steelers got to use as the number 2. Be fair, I am the absolute biggest Mike Williams fan out there possible. I've always liked him since he got drafted by the Chargers. Didn't work out with the Jets. This guy just, what a big deal, man. You leave the Jets, go to the Steelers. Steelers are looking good. You make the game-winning catch. It's working out perfect for him. That guy should, I don't know, send Devontae Adams flowers, Mike Williams. Do that. I don't know why you didn't get the ball more in New York. Not really wanting to play Mike Williams yet. It is Baltimore, so it is tempting with how bad that pass, that receiver matchup is over there and how they are versus quarterbacks. I kind of want to see just a little bit more, but if you absolutely need like a big sleeper, you need a boom here. I don't hate the Mike Williams call. I think he's going to get the ball a bit more. Pickens is still the guy there. So Mike Williams, 20% rostered. Then this one's even wilder. I got Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 2% rostered. Hail Mary play, absolutely. 3 targets, 2 TDs today, 109 yards. Derek Carr has to throw it to someone. Not sure when Olave is coming back. Maybe MBS is the deep threat there. He's dropped a lot of balls in the past. Didn't do it today. You have been warned. Go after him if needed, if you need a splash. Next, I have Demario Douglas. Back-to-back 7-point games, which isn't a lot. But Drake May is playing good. And I think Demario Douglas is about to pop. You see what I did there? Pop Douglas. So I think these rookie receivers, I think they're starting to get the hang of it. Pop Douglas, with how May's playing, he's going to have to start going to pop. And back-to-back 7-point games, not great, but it is a foundation where he can go and make it a little bit bigger. Playing the LA Rams this next week. And then another one here, Noah Brown, 21% rostered, 3 straight games with 6 or more targets at the Philadelphia Eagles. Tough pass, tough. They're tough on receivers there. But Noah Brown is getting more targets. I think he's going to start converting on these. I know I've been saying it for a while. I know I sound like a broken record. And I know I said I'd never wear this Dallas Cowboys hat on here again because you always make fun of me for it. And I quit wearing it because I thought when I wore it, the Cowboys lose. And I realized today, it doesn't matter what hat I wear. with this little deal they got going on over there in Jerry World. So last wide receiver ad, I got John Mechie. Went 5 for 6, 74 yards and a touchdown. Maybe Tank Dell just isn't quite 100%. Maybe he's just not the guy we thought he was. Good play by John Mechie. I know Nico Collins is coming back. Let's monitor this situation and see who the number 2 wide receiver is. Even if Mechie's the number 3, this guy had a lot of draft, upside, a lot of potential. Guys really liked him. Maybe he's just finally getting there, right? So biggest game of his career so far. I like the dart throw on John Mechie as well. Had a couple dart throws, Hail Mary plays in these wide receiver plays here. Wide receiver duds here, guys. I got Zay Flowers, 5.4 fantasy points. He was 92% started. I do not have CeeDee Lamb on this list. One, because I'm a Cowboys fan. I don't want to do him that. No, that's not why, because I think he'll probably be on it again in the future. But I have Zay Flowers on here over CeeDee Lamb because Zay Flowers was in an absolute shootout. His quarterback threw 4 touchdown passes. His quarterback's throwing TD passes to guys that, should be on the practice squad, and we don't know who they are. And Zay Flowers doesn't do anything in that game. You look at that box score right when you see it, you're like, oh, Zay Flowers probably had a good game if you didn't watch it. No, he didn't. He had 5 fantasy points. And Tylan Wallace, what kind of name is Tylan? I've heard of Dylan. Don't want to get into names. Don't want people coming to me. But Tylan Wallace had the big game. Rashad Bateman had a big game. Nelson Aguilar caught a touchdown pass. Zay Flowers got nothing but breadcrumbs. But it could have been worse because I don't even know if Deontay Johnson even got breadcrumbs in that game. So it could have been worse. But yeah, I got Zay Flowers, 5.4 fantasy points. DJ Moore, 4.2 fantasy points, 75% started. And then Devonta Smith, 2.4 fantasy points, 88% started. That's all my wide receivers. That's all my wide receiver duds. Next on the list, guys, we got the tight ends, the big boys. I don't know why I just call them big boys. That's kind of weird. Sorry about that. Tight ends. I got Pat Freiermuth, 51% rostered. Good matchup this week versus the Ravens. We beat the Raven drum all pod long. They're giving up 11 fantasy points per game to the tight end. I like Pat Freiermuth in this spot. I think it's a good stream. Also, Taysom Hill, 6 touches in 3 straight games for a tight end. And touches, those are handoffs, maybe some throws, catches. He's involved. That's why I don't mind Taysom Hill. Last on the list, like always, Hunter Henry still on the list because Drake May has no one to throw to. The other tight end over there made the play today. It was not Drake May. Unfortunately, Bears are a tough team. They're tough on defense. I don't know what's going on with the Bears. It's just it's the offensive line, right? Hunter Henry totally had a stinker today, 1.9 fantasy points, but Austin Hooper actually had a pretty big catch in that game, finished with 7.9 fantasy points. So the tight ends in New England are kind of seem like who Drake May's going to. I don't hate adding Hunter Henry. He's on this list every single week. He's a lot better than guys you can play out there. Then tight end duds, guys. Ouch. Some bad ones. I got Justin Ferguson as 1. Justin Ferguson finished today's game with, what we got here, Fergie? 2.4 fantasy points is Justin Ferguson. Honorable mention, I have Cade Otton, 6 fantasy points. Baker Mayfield's out there, just dragging that team by their heels to stay in these games. Cade Otton only gets 6 fantasy points. Got to do a little bit better than that, Cade. I know there's a tough defense, but that is all I got for today, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on Thursday when we have our matchup show. Remember, don't be rude. Share the dudes. Really helps us out, guys. Give us a like. Give us a sub. Thanks for tuning in. We will see you next time. And as always, take care.
This has been another episode of the Fantasy Football Dudes podcast. Remember to rate, review, and follow. For more information, go to www.thefantasyfootballdudes.com. And remember, we are sorry for absolutely nothing.